And what we want to do is we want to find out if we're going to be able to compete with them and rank above them. So what we're going to do is we're going to head back over to Google and we're going to use a special search string. The search string is, yo, what is going on guys? Paul James here. Welcome back to today's video on the channel today. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to do lead generation. So as you know, one of the big businesses that I run is a lead generation business, and it's the process of helping business owners get more customers. Now, I initially polled you guys inside of the YouTube community tab, also polled you via my email list and asked you guys if you would be interested in a course that was kind of like entry level to get started in the lead generation business, because at times like this, lead generation is still one of the business models that you can actually make money with, because it's a lot easier of a sell than some of the other services out there, because business owners always are going to need more customers. So I polled you guys and I said, you know, would you be interested in an introductory course like that? I would probably put it under $30. And the response was overwhelming. So many people raised their hands and said, yes, I would be interested in that. So what I've decided to do is put that together for you right now, but instead of charging you for it, I'm just gonna do it for free right here on YouTube. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be kicking off a series of lead generation tutorials that is basically going to be a mini course. And this is going to allow you to get started, and I'm gonna do everything I can to really help you guys get going. Now, what I need from you is to comment on the video any questions you have along the way, to make sure that I'm answering your questions in the next video that I create, and also just helps for the feedback and all of that stuff. The other thing you're going to want to do if you want to be participating in this series is you're going to want to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and have the bell notification icon turned on, because the future videos that I release on the channel are going to be on this topic and you're not going to want to miss them. Also, as far as this goes, I want to make sure you're taking action on it. So if you could do me a favor, and if you're gonna follow along, please take action. I'm taking my time to actually put this together for you. I hope it helps a lot of people. And what I ask from you is that you take action. I know a lot of people have some time right now that they can actually devote to doing this. So I think it's great timing all the way around. So anyways, we're gonna hop on my computer. I'm gonna break this down and we're gonna get started with it. There are 4 phases that I go through whenever I build a new lead generation business or a new lead generation site. And that's what I'm gonna explain to you. And we're gonna actually get started and get you taking action right now today. All right, so smash a like on this video and comment below, I'm ready, if you're gonna follow along and if you're gonna take action. All right, let's hop on the computer and break this down. 6 quick slides just to kind of break down everything so that you guys know what you're getting into and what it is, what it's not, all of that stuff. So what is a lead generation or lead gen business? You may hear this term being thrown around a lot. Basically, a lead is something that is considered like a customer. So if you have, you know, a restaurant out there, it would be getting them someone to come in and place an order, or like a takeout order. If you have a roofing contractor out there, it would be like getting them a new roof install. That is what lead generation is, and the business model around it. What you do as someone who owns a lead generation business is your job is to generate them more leads, get them more customers, and they pay you to do that. Usually they pay you on a per lead basis, which is why this is one of the easier services to sell. So how is this different from an SEO or a Facebook ad agency? Because a lot of the ways that we generate leads in this business model is we utilize things like search engines and we utilize things like ads. But it differs because usually in those models, you're collecting a flat monthly fee and you're performing a service. Like you'll optimize their website and get them ranked in Google, but you're not really responsible for the leads, and it just basically stops and it ends there. You're also utilizing usually the customer's website or any properties that they have. And then when it comes to a Facebook ad agency, the difference would be like they usually pay you to run ads on behalf of their company, and you get paid a management fee to basically run those ads. Those models, although they are good and people make a lot of money with them, and I make money with those models too, they're a lot harder for beginners to get started with, because as a beginner, you don't have proof of concept. You don't have a list of customers that you've worked with in the past. And also in hard economic times, it's a lot harder of a sell because business owners are out there struggling. They just want more customers. And if you already have those customers to give them, which you do in lead generation business, you're literally, you generate the leads ahead of time and then you sell them to them on a per lead basis, it's gonna be a lot easier to sell. And that's just the nature of how it goes because you can charge on a per lead basis. So do we have examples of successful lead generation businesses, like people who have gone out there and done this before and have been successful with it? We do. We have companies out there that exist. Home Advisor is one of them. There's Angie's List, there's Porch, there's Thumbtack. There's so many of them out there that exist. Home Advisor is a good example because they are one of the biggest. Last I checked, and don't quote me on this number, it was somewhere around there, was that they did $500 million annually, which is an insane amount of money. I mean, if you could even capture a small portion of that, I think you'd probably be doing all right. But yeah, it's nuts. There's definitely big proof of concept out there, and it's definitely why a lot of people look towards this industry if they want to work from home, if they want to work remotely, if they want to stay behind their computer, because it's a profitable industry. Is it saturated though? I named off some of those larger companies. Like, is there room for you? Is there room to get started and get going with it as someone who's just getting started working from home or working from their computer? The answer is yes. And the reason why is because there's things that you can do to separate yourself from those companies, number one. Number two, there's just a lot of businesses out there that need leads that aren't hiring these companies. And there's different niches that those companies don't focus on as well. One of the edges that you could give yourself over all of these other companies I mentioned is offering what's called exclusivity to your leads. So when a customer or like a company goes and hires Home Advisor, they are actually getting their lead that they get also sent to 5 other people. So like if you're a roofing contractor and I'm Home Advisor and I sell you a lead, that lead is also going to like 4 other roofing contractors. So then it becomes a bidding war. Regardless of, even if one of the other contractors got the job, you still have to pay for the lead. So Home Advisor is basically like quadruple dipping there. So that is why you can compete and why it's not completely saturated. So this series that we're going to talk about right now will cover the 4 phases that I go through from start to finish. And this series is going to take a lot of videos, just being honest with you. When I said this is a mini course, it really is. It's gonna be a lot of videos and it's gonna be a lot of homework. So I wanna make sure that you're in the right mindset for it going into this. Some things you might wanna have handy are a notepad and pen to take notes, because we're gonna be covering a lot of stuff. We're going to be actually setting things up, and what I want you to do after each video is I want you to legitimately put in the work that I talk about, because if you don't put in the work on this stuff, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work for you. But if you put in the work and you don't give up, I don't see why you can't also get this business model going like so many others have. So let's just go ahead and jump into things. And now that we've covered what it is and exactly what you can look forward to, let's jump into Google and just start doing some research. So the first phase that we need to do is we need to pick out a niche. Niche selection is important. It's basically, like what kind of company we're gonna go after, what kind of like industry. Are we gonna pick roofing? Are we gonna pick pools? Are we gonna do landscaping? And we also need to come up with a location. So by the way, I know we've got a lot of viewers here who are not in the United States. If you're not in the United States, you could definitely do this in your country. But the other thing is you can target the United States even if you're not living in it, because with lead generation, you don't have to like meet with business owners, or even, you don't really even have to do phone calls with them, although sometimes you might want to, but you don't have to. You can communicate by email and you can do it remotely. So that is gonna be part of what we're gonna talk about right now coming up in phase 1. So I'm gonna open up a Google window here. And what I'm gonna do, and by the way, I am using a plugin in this video called Keywords Everywhere. It's keywordseverywhere.com. It's a little Chrome extension. It shows up on your screen right here. This keyword tool used to be free. They charge now $10 for 100,000 credits of it. You could go to keywordseverywhere.com, click install for Chrome or install for Firefox, and then you can go and click get API key once you're set up, and then you'll have Keywords Everywhere set up. And again, I would recommend just buying that $10 worth of credits and you'll be good to go with what we're gonna do here next. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna think about an industry. If you're having trouble coming up with industries, you can visit a site like Home Advisor or Porch or Thumbtack, and you can look at some of the industries that they have there. But I've got some in mind that I'm gonna look into. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna target a city, and I'm gonna pick a city in Wisconsin, Milwaukee particularly. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to focus on a large city. The reason why is because that's going to be super competitive, most likely. There might be some golden niches that I could find in this city, and that's worth doing. I've got a lot of actually niches in this city, believe it or not, because I grew up around here and nearby, so I know the area really well. But what I'm gonna do in this example is I'm gonna teach you guys how to go after an micro niche down. That's what I call it. And the way you do that is you zoom out on the map a little bit, and instead of going after the big city, you look at some of the other bigger ones that are kind of outside of the border of it. And the theory here is that even though there's gonna be less people there, there's gonna be less competition, there's gonna be less everything, there's still going to be people there that are going to be buying these services because people live there, right? So like if I go and I target roofing in this city, I mean, there's still gonna be people there even if I don't see a lot of search results. So let's go and show you some examples. I'm gonna show the example of Grafton and Cedarburg. So one of the ways I like to start doing this is, let me go back to Google, is I like to just start by typing in my keyword. So maybe I'm thinking of roofing. I'm just gonna do a quick gauge of which keyword is more popular. Is it roofing or is it a roofer? Just to grab kind of a quick gauge. It's not super important yet. So roofing looks like it's more popular. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare it to the larger city, because a lot of times with these smaller cities, we're not going to see as big of volume or sometimes any volume. With local keywords, sometimes it'll show 0 volume on these smaller cities. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna append Milwaukee after it, which is the nearest bigger city. Okay, so that gets 480 searches. Let me try roofing Milwaukee and see how many that gets, if it's one bigger than the other. Okay, so they're both about the same. Okay, so we'll just go and we'll say Roofer Milwaukee. Okay, so now we're gonna append it with the city we wanna target. So I'm thinking like Cedarburg. So if I type in roofer Cedarburg, you can see now the search results say 0, but in reality, this is not going to yield no searches. Like, that's just not reality. There are a lot of people who live in Cedarburg. We could probably pull up like population facts if we wanted to, but I usually don't even bother. Like, you don't really even have to worry about this. We got a population of 12,000 people living in Cedarburg, and that's enough. I mean, we're going to have people there who own houses. You could probably even look up specific data of how many people own houses here. There are certain sites. You know, people own houses here. Average median household income of $82,000, property value of $281,000. Like, people live here. They're gonna have houses here. They're gonna need their roofs repaired, the roofs fixed. So roofer Cedarburg, in my opinion, is still going to draw traffic, is my point. So I base my keywords and my searches off of a larger city nearby, and that is why I do that, because technically on this one we will probably see 0. But what this is gonna allow us to do is it's going to allow us to find low competition niches. Now, we're gonna avoid ads here, because the next part of our phase, once we settle on a niche and a keyword, and by the way, don't everyone go out there and like copy roofer and copy this city, because you'll just saturate it. You won't have any luck doing that, and probably everyone's gonna copy each other, and that's not good either. So try to get creative with what I'm sharing with you here and come up with your own keyword in your own niche and location, all right? Just use what I'm doing and model it, but come up with your own stuff. Okay, so what we wanna do next is we wanna go into the next part of this phase, of phase 1. And that is, we wanna analyze our competition. So I'm not gonna pay attention to this Google guaranteed or the ads, because this is ads, this is paid traffic. This is not what we're interested in. Because we're doing lead gen, we're also not gonna pay attention to Google Maps here, because you need to have a physical location in order to get into Google Maps. Are we gonna miss out on some traffic there because we're not there? Absolutely, but we just can't do that right now. Maybe once we get a client, we can come back to that. But we'll still get some traffic off of the Google organic search results, which is right here. And this is where we want to rank. We want to rank here as high up as possible. So what we want to do is we want to grab one of our legitimate competitors, someone who actually owns an actual roofing company, and we want to reverse engineer the competition. This is what I call competitive analysis here. And what we want to do is we want to find out if we're going to be able to compete with them and rank above them. So I don't look at sites like Yelp, sites like Angie's List, Home Advisor, Better Business Bureau. I don't look at any of that stuff. These are directory sites. You could tell they're directory sites because their links, they say right above their title, like Cedarburg, Home Services, Roofing, Home Advisor, Wisconsin, Cedarburg, BBB, Cedarburg, category, roofing. When you see that like link structure like that means it's a directory site. It means they list a bunch of different companies, and we can usually almost always outrank that, so we don't need to worry about that. But what we do need to worry about is when there's a competitor like this company right here, graftonroof.com. I wanna click on their website, and I want to reverse engineer their entire off-page strategy, we call it. This means how many other websites they are on. I want to find out. So what we're going to do is we're going to head back over to Google and we're going to use a special search string now that we know their website is graftonroof.com. The search string is, you're going to put their website into quotes like that, website.com. So their website was graftonroof.com. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put minus in URL and then graftonroof.com again. Now, don't put the HTTP, don't put the www. You just want to do the URL.com, website.com. And you want it to be exactly like this. The first part in quotes, the second part followed by minus in URL, semicolon, graftonroof.com, or whatever your competitor is. What this is telling Google is it's saying, hey, Google, I want to know all websites that Grafton Roof is listed on, but just don't show me their own website. Like if they have another page on their own website that they have, I don't need to see that. And we hit search. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna see the number of results. Now we can see here that it says 10 results, but we don't actually wanna look at that number exactly. Instead, what we wanna do is we wanna go through and we wanna start counting. So we can see they're listed on Yelp. They're listed on Apollo.io. They're listed on Grafton Robotics. So that's so far three different sites. They're listed on Show Me Local, 4. They're listed on like another Yelp, a couple other Yelps, like from different countries. So we'll say 7, 8. 8 websites, and the majority of them are Yelp. And then from there, that's it. So you can see why we didn't just take it from up there. Now, there might be several pages of results and you'll want to go back and look. And I want you to keep this in mind because why this is important is because in order for you to compete with them, you're going to need to get listed probably on a lot of those sites, not all of them, because like you're not going to be able to get listed on some of them where it requires you to have like a mailing address, but there's other sites you'll be able to get listed on using just your website name, your website URL, and that kind of stuff, and your phone number, which we'll talk about how to get all of that. It's not a big deal, don't worry about it. So with that being said, if I see, we only need to get listed on 8 sites, that means that's something I can compete with because a lot of times we can do social media profiles for sites. I can come up with a lot of social media profiles off the top of my head, like Pinterest, LinkedIn, Facebook pages, YouTube pages, or videos. So many, just so many different sites. Many I'm forgetting about. But anyways, just to give you an example there, that is what we want to do. So with that being said, I'm gonna leave you with this because I think that we'll leave off at a really good place right here for homework for you to do. So number 1 is I want you to come up with some niche ideas. Write down like 4 or 5 niche ideas, like write down like asbestos abatement, pool cleaning, whatever different niches you come up with. You can go reverse engineer Home Advisor, you can go reverse engineer Thumbtack, Porch, all these different sites and come up with something. Then what I want you to do is I want you to pick some remote locations, or I guess suburb locations, not big cities, but outside of the big cities, okay? I want you to come up with those next. And then I want you to go into Google, just like I showed you, and I want you to start digging in and seeing if you can find niches like I just found that aren't super competitive, okay? And once you have that, I want you to write down your number 1 pick, the number 1 thing that you think is a good choice, it gets you excited. I want you to write that down and prepare for the next video coming up. And again, make sure you are subscribed with your notifications turned on so that you do not miss that video. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and smash the like button and also share this video with someone that you think this could help. If you know someone right now that's struggling who could really use this mini course that we're putting together, go ahead and share it with them. I'm really excited to put out the rest of this content. Again, this is something that I got a lot of feedback on, so I'm really excited to be doing it for you guys. Anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video. I'm Paul James here signing off. Peace out.